Hey guys, it's Miss Hitchcock. So, here's our new style of flipped classroom. Today we're going to be talking about 3-3, and that's percent markup and percent mark down notes. So, first some vocab. Markup, all that means is to increase. Think about up. To mark it up, it means to increase. What's highlighted goes in your blanks. To mark down, that means to decrease. So, it could be a discount or a sale. Okay, decrease, because if you're getting a discount or a sale, you're getting money taken away from the original cost, right? Think about when you go buy shoes. If they're discounted, you're not going to pay as much as you normally would. You're going to pay less. Retail price. The retail price, that means how much is a store selling things for. So retail literally means when you go into a store and you see a price tag on it, that's the retail price. Wholesale price, now that's a little bit different. Wholesale means how much did the store buy the stuff for? Okay, so the price a store buys an item for, guys, it's cheaper than the retail price. It's cheaper because they need to make some money. That's a money sign. They need to make money. So if they buy it for less and they sell it for more, they're making a profit. Okay, I want you to think about that. They buy it for less and sell it for more, they make a profit. All right. Now, before we go on, I need you to know you do not need to completely understand this. This is like taking notes, and when you get in class tomorrow, we're going to look at specific examples. So, this basically does not waste your time in class, and you get all your notes at home before you come to class. So, here are your steps. Step 1, you need to figure out if your question is asking you to do a markup or if it's asking you to do a mark down. Now, if it's asking you to do a markup, you're going to look at your notes because we're always going to use our notes right now. You're going to look at your notes and you're going to go to the left side of the notes. So let's look at the left side right now. All right. We have mark up. Sorry, I got to cover this up. Okay, mark up. So we have a little question now. This question, I'm not going to use this question to do any math work. It's just simply a question so you can see where I'm getting these numbers from. So it says, how much does a $35 skateboard cost if it was marked up by 42%? So, your first step, write your formula. This is a new formula. You need to memorize this. This is a very important formula that you will see for the rest of the year. Make sure it's memorized. So, it says part over whole equals percent over 100. Now, you know what that looks like, right? It looks like a proportion. Okay, that's exactly what it is. So, we need to figure out what we can substitute into our proportion. So, step 2 says, determine the original cost or number for an item and substitute it into the whole position. Okay, for this instance, your original cost is always going to be your whole number. So, when we're marking stuff up, how much did the skateboard originally cost? Well, if you look up here, it originally costed $35, right? So, we determined our original cost. We need to substitute it into our whole position. And we see whole is on the bottom, so 35 is going to go right here. All right, rewrite. Part is equal to percent over 100, and you go to step 4. Step 4 says you need to add 100 to your percent from the problem. So what was our percent from the problem? Well, you look for a percent sign, you see it's 42%. So we need to add 100 to that percent. So 42 plus 100 is 142. Step 5 says substitute that percent that we just found, 142, into the percent position. So, you need to substitute. You now have part over 35 is equal to 142 over 100. Come down here. Now, you know how to solve a proportion. You use your cross products to set up an equation. So, your equation is going to be 35 times 142 is equal to part times 100. Okay, you divide by your coefficient to isolate your variable. Your variable was your part, and you have your answer. Okay, kind of simple. It'd be easier if we did the math, but this is just taking notes. Just taking notes. Alright, next side. If you haven't guessed it, your step 1 was to figure out what your question was asking you. We already did mark up, so we need to figure out what mark down is. How do we do mark down? The kind of question you're going to see is, remember mark down means to decrease. So it says, how much does a $16 holiday decoration cost if it was marked down by 20%? So if it went down in price by 20%. First step, write your formula. We know that formula is a proportion. Step 3, determine the original cost or number for an item and substitute it into the whole position. Now your original cost for this item was $16. We need to substitute that 16 into our whole position. We know our whole was on the bottom because part over whole is equal to percent over 100. Alright, next it says subtract your percent from 100 in your problem example. Alright, we had a percent of 20. We need to subtract it from 100. 100 minus 20 is 80. Now look at your difference. When we're marking up, we're adding. Remember, up, when you add things to it. So we're going up. That's a way to think of it. When you're marking down, you subtract. You're taking away. So that's another way to think about it, okay? That's a very important step. If you miss step 4 on either markup or mark down, it's going to give you a wrong answer. So you subtract your percent from 100. Our percent from our problem was 20. So 100 minus 20 is 80%. What do you think you do next? Good. You substitute it into the percent position in your proportion. Percent position in proportion. That's a lot of P's. Alright, so we got part over 16. 16 was our whole. Is equal to 80, which is what we just found in step 4, over 100. How do you think you solve for part? Good. Use cross products to set up your equation. And again, you divide by your coefficient to isolate your variable, which is your part. Alright, we are going to be looking at examples like this tomorrow. So in your Google Doc, you just have some simple questions where I need you to abbreviate some of these steps, okay? Put them in your own words. And then you're going to have some questions. That's maybe some questions that we've already done this year. So maybe it's going to be about rational numbers. Maybe it's about percents to fractions, fractions to percent, something like that, okay? So I need you to answer them. Please press submit and have a great night.